My mom tells my cousin called Ipai, I'm gonna die. She tells my father, on my funeral, I don't want flowers. I walk to him and he kneels down. He kneels down, so I'm like, okay, he's kneeling down. So I'm looking at him and he looks at me and he tells me, Mom is gone. You know, when you have been abused emotionally so much, you begin to take on the image of your abuser. I've already attempted suicide twice at this point. I took pills at one point. At that point, I tried to throw myself in front of the road and something pushed me back. Yeah, one day I'm stumbling upon and I see Kiss 100. This lady is talking on this station. I'm like, who is this? Who is this babe? It's Caroline Mutoko and Nyambane.
Yes.
All I knew, I'm gonna end up here one
and you're
day.
In Zambia.
Yeah. Because you see, when you know who you are, when you attach your identity and you go forth in your destiny, you know what you won't get distracted by certain things along the way because you have who you are. Silence is golden, speech is silver. I am the golden voice, God's son, Chito Ndlovu.
So dude, it's nice to have you on the podcast today, man.
Thanks, man.
And first, I'm just jazzed by the label on your... Is that your brand?
Yeah, Gucci is not making money from me, bro. Gucci is not making money from me.
The golden voice.
Yes.
Well, tell me more. What's the gold? I know you have a golden voice, I guess, because I've heard you on commercials and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things that, in fact, I got it from... There is a gentleman who goes to Eagle's Faith Church, the one off Kiambu Road.
Yeah.
So then they used
That's
to
one for George.
Yeah, one for Pastor George Matthew.
Yes.
So there's a time he was here in Westlands, just next to, what is it called? These guys, then I can't say them here because I'll be giving them a plug. It's Chums.
Yeah.
One of these delivery services, one of these popular delivery services here in Westie. So they used to be there. So one time, I can't remember, he was talking to me and then he said, you're the man with the golden voice. And it stuck.
Hey, dude.
And I was like, yeah, this guy is making a valid point here. So I got it up and then I never used to utilize it.
Yeah.
I just used to be like, yeah, I'm the golden voice, I'm the golden voice. And then I have an ex of mine who made for me a key holder.
An ex?
Yeah, an ex, like an ex-girlfriend. So she made for me a key holder, written, this is Chito, at the back, the golden voice. I had it for years, bro. I even forgot I had it.
Yeah.
So one day I look at it, I'm like, this thing, I have to do something about this. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just hook up, let me just put it everywhere.
Yeah.
So I just started putting it everywhere. So even like when my clothes have been done, I'm just like, yo, bro, the golden voice.
That's a good tagline, actually, because you have a really good voice.
Yeah. Oh, thank God, man.
Yeah, you have a great voice, and it's a money voice.
Yeah.
Not like mine.
But you did radio as well, didn't you?
I did radio, but some of us, we just walked in up, we had navigated through this whole space.
Yeah.
But you someone like Njugush, you guys have good voices. Maina, Akina. Then of course there's Mokazi.
Yes.
Him is the royal voice.
He's the royal voice. Yeah, he's the royal voice. I'm the golden voice. He's the king voice. Yeah. So that's how I ended up there. Man, you've taken me on such a... I didn't even realize about the whole... But yeah, it's one of those things. I'm just like, put it everywhere. So the tagline became, silence is golden, speech is silver. Yeah. I am the golden voice, God's son, Chito Ndlovu.
Hey, dude.
That became my tagline. That became my tagline.
I like that, man. And what's the dove?
So the dove is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just one of those things for where God is... So the sea, it's been carried by the dove. So God carries me everywhere.
Bro,
I don't carry myself. He takes me where he needs to take me.
Dude, that's so interesting, man.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. You could start a ministry,
Nah, I'm not calling That's not my thing.
You have the logo.
I have the logo already. Call it the Golden Ministries.
Yes. For the man with the golden voice.
Nah, I'm not. I am very sure I'm not called to be a pastor.
In fact, you should even go ahead and say the Midas touch. Everything we touch
turns to gold. Well, that's scripture, though. Yeah, but I for sure I am not called to be a pastor. That is not my thing.
Yeah, I guess that's what they all say.
No, for sure. Me, it's one of those where like I was like, God, we have to agree. You tell me right now. Before I go in this direction, I'm going in to calm down and be clear.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm not called to. I'm not a pastor.
Yeah,
I'm not a guy who's gonna start a church and then start pandaing begu for 310. That's not my thing. I'm just a kingdom champion. That's what I am.
You guy, man.
Yeah.
I see. You've been in our country for a while now.
Yeah.
Because clearly you know about Mbegu 310.
Yeah. Man, it was a good time to be on radio. When that guy was selling potassium permanganate. I think it was potassium permanganate or something.
What?
It was a good time to be on radio.
Why is that?
Because there was so much content.
Yeah.
It was just there in your face every day. Like you woke up and Kanyari did something new.
He's still doing
something new till date.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good time.
It's insane that, and I don't even know how we've even ended up in that space, but just how we end up being, it's like we refuse to think for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we keep getting duped and doing crazy things.
Yeah.
Tumambegu 310.
Yeah.
But we don't think and ask ourselves, this thing, it's not even right.
Yeah. I think it's just, as masses, at the end of the day, we desire something bigger.
Yeah.
We desire something greater. Mm-hmm. I think at the end of we all know greatness is within all of us in whatever space it is. I think not all of us will end up on a stage like Barack Obama, but somebody is going to raise Barack Obama. Not everybody is going to end up on stage like Steve Harvey. Somebody will connect with Steve Harvey and open the door for him.
Yeah.
So I think it's just understanding at which space we are in. So when a guy comes and tells you, Panda Mbegu ya 310, the greatness in you is like, there's something he's saying. But the only thing is you cannot decipher that, bro, unabebwa kama hiyo mbegu. You don't discern it, but we all desire that greater thing.
I think it's the hunger, like you said.
Yes, it's the hunger and the thirst. So you are looking for that bigger thing.
Yeah.
You just haven't yet discovered how to make that. So when a guy gives you a shortcut and then we're in this instant, we love things quick.
We don't want the process.
We don't want the process. We don't understand that there's a process to how things come out to be.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it at that point and we just grab it like 310 bob only. Wacha tuende tu.
Naitanifungulia milango. It's going to open doors.
Yeah. So we want it. We desire it, but how we get it is the thing for me.
I hear you, man. And speaking of processes, you're one of those guys who has had the opportunity to be in the media for a while.
Yes.
I was just, doing a little bit of research on you, and I try to have very authentic conversations with my guests, by the way. So I've seen that you've been at NTV.
Yeah.
You were at Sound Africa?
No, I did
Nation Radio.
I did Nation Radio.
Mm-hmm.
I did The Trend with Larry for a while. I was one of his panelists at one point.
Uh-huh.
I did 1FM.
Mm-hmm.
I did, what is it called? Urban Radio in Kisumu.
Yes.
Then Kiss. Then somewhere with Kiss, I was doing Kiss End Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
You even went to Kisumu.
Yeah, bro, I did Kisumu City.
Hey.
I was there for a while. I was there for about a year, 6 months.
What?
Yeah. And Kisumu is such a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also a place, I think, where you really get to, your mind really does it opens. Because you sit in a space, like, I'm not Kenyan.
Yeah.
I was not born Kenyan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Zambian, Zimbabwean. I'm a mixture of two things.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in my roots, you find South Africa, somewhere there. And then I come into Kenya and I end up in Kisumu.
Yeah.
So you're learning. And imagine in Kisumu, I found Zambians. It was one of the most random things ever.
We keep saying Kenyans and Nigerians are everywhere. Kumbe even Zambians.
There's some Zambians in Kisumu. Wow. I was like, oh my God, they're like, my people are here.
Yeah.
I know that. But it was I think for me, it was a time just to also discover, to get a refocusing on what I want to do, what I want to be, and also realizing that there's a certain level of success you'll never touch in life if you don't agree with an entity, with a spirit, whether devil or God.
Yeah.
You have to agree with one or the other. You gotta agree with one or the other.
Yeah.
okay, I'm going here, so let me just go there.
It's okay, just go.
So you see how like Jesus was taken to the top of a mountain by the devil and told, "This, I'll give you all this if you bow down to me." I think each and every single one of us has that moment. There's that moment you come to where you have to decide which kingdom do you serve. And whether you serve it as a pastor, whether you serve it as a businessman, whether you serve it as a cleaner, whether you serve it as a mom, as a dad, there's a point you have to decide which kingdom you serve. And for me, I think Kisumu was my who do you serve?
Wow.
Yeah.
It was your who do you serve moment.
It was my who do you serve moment.
What is happening, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, I had depression. I was depressed in Kisumu. I attempted suicide in Kisumu. So it made me really begin to search in deep and begin to discover, to ask the right questions. What am I on earth here for? I mean, I know I'm meant to be in media, but what am I doing in media? You know, and also it was a good opportunity to also realize what I was carrying and what, you know, what I have. But it's one of my, Kisumu is one of my greatest moments and one of my depressed moments.
It was a defining moment.
Yeah, because I had to search deep, man. I had to search deep. I had to really search deep and really figure out what's in me. But also, I mean, so context-wise, my father, so I moved here because of my dad. My dad was one of those people who were working in non-governmental organizations, which made him move around a lot. Particularly, he was working at the All Africa Conference of Churches. So we moved around a lot my life growing up because of my dad's work. So my mom passes away in the year 2000. So it's just me and my dad.
Do you have any other siblings?
No. Okay. I had a sibling, but he died as well.
Sorry.
So I'm the only child from my dad and my mom. Then my father remarried, and then we moved into Kenya. I was in Uganda. So we're in Zambia, then we moved to South Africa for a while. Then left South Africa, went back into Zambia, lived in Zambia for a short stint. My father moves here into Kenya with his family. I went into Uganda for school. I finished UG school, I come into Kenya. So I come into Kenya, then my dad now is moving to Canada. So he asked me, you want to come? I'm like, nah. I'm not going to Canada. You do you, bro. Hey. You do you. So he moved with his family to Canada. So I stay here. Even staying here, I feel like it's my Abraham moment. You know that moment of leave your people and I will show you a land. That moment. So I feel like it was my Abraham moment or your Jacob moment, whatever. It's a Barack Obama moment as well, when you have to now figure out who you are, you come back home and all those things. So I just feel I shouldn't go. I believe very strongly. I'm heavily convicted.
You need to be here.
I need to be here. And so I stay. I just told him, no. Because initially I was meant to go. I was like, no, dude, I'll stay back. You can go. So he's now gone. He's moved. So now I'm alone. I'm in second year uni. I started working in 1FM.
Which university are you at?
I was in Daystar University.
All right.
So I started working in Daystar when I was in I started working in 1FM when I was in second year of university. So I've done the stint of 1FM. We separated 1FM. I've gone to Nation FM. Nation FM. I've separated Nation FM.
And you're still in uni at that time?
Yeah. So I graduated when I was at Nation. When I was at Nation, I graduated. In fact, I graduated in between Nation and Urban. So I actually left Nation. I was in Urban Radio. My graduation, I was in Urban Radio. Now I've graduated. I mean, you're done. So now I'm now on basically now I'm adulting proper. You know, now it's proper adulting.
It's the season.
So, I mean, a lot of questions then begin to come up. You begin to ask yourself, why have I gone through certain seasons of my life? You know, I'm questioning things about myself. Why do I think the way I think? Why do I behave the way I am? I'm also asking pertinent questions about my family. I'm asking questions about, you know, it comes a point where a man asks questions about his father in terms of, who is this guy by the way? You know, now from a man perspective, not as a father-son. So I'm questioning that because I'm trying to trace my identity. So I'm trying to trace it from who he is, figure out how my relationship is with him, and then trace it back to myself and figure out who am I. Now here I am. And I mean, sometimes people say over-spiritualizing, but I tell guys, the devil is as real as this. Just as real. So in that moment, he wants to bring confusion. He wants you not to figure out who you are. Because you see, when you figure out who you are, your identity then becomes in Christ. When you have that pillar, that's it. That's it. You will just go, so I'm in this moment. I'm also trying to figure out, I'm not really knowing I'm in a battle of two kingdoms, but I am.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, I'm here, but I'm here. So you go to the club, then you pray in the morning.
Yeah.
You know.
You're in between the worlds.
Yeah. You are drinking your Johnny Walker, and then am I supposed to say that on this podcast?
Yeah, you're trying to walk in the faith.
You're trying to walk in the faith. So you're having a mix of both. You're literally, I'm in a battle of two kingdoms. I don't realize it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to get that point. So, of course, one of the things that start happening is you're not good for anything. I mean, dude, you're in Kisumu.
Yeah.
People are in Nairobi. Guys are making their careers go high. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Those conversations start playing in your mind.
You see how surprised I was that you were in Kisumu. Nothing wrong with the guys in Kisumu, by the way.
But it's not a thing you expect from.
Yeah.
I mean, you've come from Zambia to be in Kisumu, bro.
You've come.
So just go back home. Go back to Zambia.
Yeah, now Kisumu is a place to be at.
Yeah. But now this is where I am. And I'm in this space. And I'm learning. And remember, I'm also trying to figure out the culture of Kisumu City.
Yeah.
And then, you are in this space. You are understanding who are these people I've been put among.
Yeah.
Kisumu is its own world. Like I tell guys, you think Nairobi, Kisumu is its own cosmopolitan world. I mean, in Kisumu, there's Americans. There's British guys. There's guys from UG. They are natives of Kisumu.
It's a cosmopolitan city.
Proper cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
I mean, there are NGOs there. It's a whole ecosystem of its own. So you're trying to understand this culture, And I mean, Kisumu it's a whole world. But I keep saying, I'm like, it's a beautiful place to be. I think God should send people to Kisumu in their lives.
To have a defining moment.
Because also the reality is that the place is also heavily spiritual. Whether someone sees it or not.
I believe that, by the way.
It's heavily spiritual.
Yes.
So it's you're Elijah being sent to Jezebel. You gotta figure out how to do with Jezebel. You gotta know how to deal with her. You're Elijah alone in the stream. You're there with that fig tree. Crows are coming to feed you. Everywhere else is just dry.
Hey.
You gotta figure it out. So it's that point. But it's heavy. Kisumu is heavily spiritual. Whether people realize it or not, it is extremely spiritual.
So were you going through a spiritual warfare?
I believe so. Now I see it. Then I didn't see it. I mean, by the time I'm taking 21 pills of Piriton, I'm in a heavily spiritual
You wanted
warfare.
some deep sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Transition to glory.
Hey,
Just
man,
go.
you were in a dark place.
Yeah. So you're doing that. You're taking that with alcohol. That's a crazy mix. And then, the weirdest part, just before that, you're praying. That's wild. For me.
What were you telling God?
I mean, I'm just talking to him. In fact, I'm praying for breakthrough. I'm praying for Kiss, by the way. I'm praying for Kiss and a BMW 320i, white leather seats. Black in color, 19 each rims.
Yeah, hey, bro. You've thought through this.
I've thought through it. So I'm praying because let me track back a bit. So for me, there was something called the World Space Radio. I don't know if you ever interacted with the World Space Radio.
Yeah.
So my dad, we're living in Stellenbosch, South Africa. We've moved from Stellenbosch, now we're living in the Strand. So I'm trying to paint this image for you. So we're in the Strand. The Strand is next to the ocean.
Yeah.
It's right next to the ocean. It's not Cape Town. It's on the sides of Cape Town. So you're in the Strand. In the Strand next to it is a place called Somerset West. Somerset West is essentially where white people are living. And then the richer black folk and the richer white folk. So my dad is a student in South Africa at the University of Stellenbosch. He's doing his PhD.
Yeah.
So he's on a student budget. We can't live in the big house, but the SQ is good enough.
Yeah.
So the SQs are pretty big.
Yes.
So that's where we are living. My father is traveling, still travels quite a lot. My dad my dad has an anointing for traveling. That man travels. So he's traveling. He comes across the World Space Radio. He's like, man, this is dope. We can listen to any station in the world on this thing. I'm taking this home. So he brings it home. And I'm playing around with it. Because I'm fascinated. I'm like, I can listen to any station in the world.
Yeah.
And then it's connected by dial-up internet.
Yes.
You've connected it by dial-up. I'm playing around with stuff. As I'm playing around, I stumble upon a station called Capital FM. So I'm listening. I'm like, where's this thing from? It's from Kenya.
Wow.
I'm in South Africa. And I'm so curious. I'm like, what is this thing here? Then my father starts dating a Kenyan. Then he ends up marrying a Kenyan lady.
Yeah.
So while he's married, so we move into Zambia. One day I'm stumbling upon and I see Kiss 100.
Mm-hmm.
This lady is talking on this station. I'm like, who is this? Who is this babe? Mm-hmm. It's Caroline Mutoko and Nyambane.
Yes.
All I knew, I'm going to end up here one day.
And you're in Zambia?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm in Zambia in my bedroom.
Wow.
I'm watching the radio like a TV. I'm literally looking at it like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's something. See, the thing
about... You're talking about things.
Yeah.
Because we're very Kenyan.
Yeah. The extremely Kenyan context.
Yeah. And you're in Zambia, I'm like, but you're stuck listening to these guys.
I don't even understand what they're saying, but my destiny is calling, bro.
Wow.
My destiny is like, this. You see this thing?
Yeah.
I used to, so in Zambia, there was a station called QFM. Still is there. And another station called Radio Phoenix. Mm-hmm. I used to record. You remember cassette tapes?
Yeah.
I was those guys who'd record the radio.
hey.
So I would record the radio. Mm-hmm. I would be fascinated. I would hear songs that I like. I don't even know what I'm doing at that point, but I'm recording the radio.
Yes.
Because something in this thing is telling me you belong here.
Yes.
And I can't explain it. I'm mixing. You remember when we used to do those CDs? You'd buy the CDR and then make a 20 CD track.
Yeah.
I was mixing Craig David and I don't know who. I'm making all this mixture of stuff. But something is calling. You see, destiny calls you.
Yeah.
Something is calling me. It's like, this is where you're supposed to be.
Wow.
And so I heard Caroline and Nyambane on this World Space Radio in Lusaka, Zambia. And I said, in fact, in my heart, I knew I'm going to be here one day.
Wow. I was
like, whatever these guys are, that's where I'm going to be one day.
Wow.
And then, the odds that my father would marry a Kenyan after my mom dies is a whole other scenario. And I was never really here. I was still fascinated by radio. So I'm in Zambia. I'm recording radio. I get into Uganda. The first thing when I get into Uganda is I'm trying to find which radio stations do I love. Mm-hmm. And I find a station called Sanyu FM.
Yes.
And I'm listening to, so there was a guy called Big Trill on Sanyu FM. I just loved those guys. I was like, these guys are fantastic. Then I would listen to Gaetano.
Yes.
Man, Gaetano has been radio for he's been radio for a minute. Man.
Gaetano used to host Tasker Project Fame.
Yes. So that time he's doing Capital Drive with Shanice, I believe was her name. They're doing it together. So I'm listening to them. I listen to Big Chill in the morning. Yeah. In fact, Shanice at one point was with Big Chill on Sanyu FM in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to these guys. And then I'm in a school where creativity is king.
Wow.
So I was in a French school called Le Media Palais. Mm-hmm. No, sorry, Paris Palais. And then we created a media house called Le Media Palais. Mm-hmm. So while I'm sitting in this place, I realized, man, there's something in me. So we used to do something called special reports in high school. So you write about what's happening in school.
Yeah.
And then read it on assembly.
Hey, dude. Yeah.
And then us guys, what we did with Le Media Palais is we shifted assemblies. Mm-hmm. Assemblies became like a radio show. It was a radio /TV thing. Because we had sound systems. We were allowed to be creative.
That's amazing.
One of the things our principal used to say was just do.
Yeah.
Just be. So
there's
room to be creative. Mm-hmm. So in high school, I'm the official MC. Now I'm still trying to gather you context for Kisumu.
Yeah.
So walk with me.
I'm with you, but I'm here with you.
So all these things are happening. Yeah. And one point while I was in high school, I have the ultimate question of why did my mother die? I begin to ask those fundamental questions. So I write an email to my dad, yo, bro. What happened? How did my mom die? Why did she die?
How old were you when she died?
I was 8 years old. In fact, I turned 8 that year.
Wow.
It was the year when I'm a Barbie Girl was a hit song.
hey.
So I turned 8 that year.
Yeah.
But my mom knew she was dying. So I have many questions. Why would this lady who knows she's dying, why would you're dying. You serve a living God. Ask him not to kill you or ask him not to take you, whatever the context is. So I'm asking the questions because my mom prepared herself. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking these questions in Uganda. Mm-hmm. Remember, Uganda
and your dad is in Kenya.
My dad is in Kenya. Mm-hmm. He's living here, but he's also traveling a lot. In fact, I sent him that email. He told me I think it was in Amsterdam at the airport.
Wow.
When I sent him that email. Mm. So, remember, Uganda is also heavily spiritual.
Yeah.
So I'm in a space where I'm beginning to ask questions because there's something calling. I believe it's God calling on to me, but I'm trying to, because you see, when you know who you are, when you attach your identity and you go forth in your destiny, you know what you won't get distracted by certain things along the way because you have who you are. You are able to confidently say, silence is golden, speech is silver, I'm the golden voice, God's son, Chito Ndlovu. How do I find that identity? There is a journey to answering that question. So I'm in high school. And so one day I'm just like, man, these emotions are clouding. They're in me. They're all over me. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling rebellious. There's all these things happening around me. And I'm beginning to realize I need to find out what happened to my mom. I knew the story, but I was like, nah, I feel there's a context I don't have. So let me write to my dad. So he answers me this question. So remember, Uganda is heavily spiritual. So even there, I'm in a Christian school in Uganda, but it's heavily spiritual. I mean, there's a lot of things happening there. So I'm asking questions. So my dad responds to me and tells me how my mom dies.
Do you mind me asking how?
It's okay. So my mom was expecting. She was expecting my brother. So she died during childbirth. Hospital negligence. An intern doctor is the one who was sent to do a cesarean operation. Ends up, I think, accidentally cutting an artery. So she's now drowning. My brother is drowning in her blood. And so she's bleeding like madness. In fact, I believe at one point they were to remove the uterus or something. So they removed that. At that time, she knew she was going. She knew. She prepared. She prepared. She told, I have a cousin of mine called Ipai. So my mom is one who's Zimbabwe and my dad is Kenya. Is Zambia. So my mom tells my cousin called Ipai, I'm going to die. These clothes, I don't want you to give these clothes to anyone. These particular ones go to this person. These ones go to this person. These ones go to this person. She tells my father, on my funeral, I don't want flowers. Let those flowers go to an education fund for Chito. My mom was a teacher. She was teaching secondary school. And so she had a passion for education like a man, like crazy. And she was strict. She had a passion for education.
Like teachers should be.
But she was strict. So she's telling this to my dad, I don't need any flowers on my funeral. Just, let that go to an education fund for Chito. I don't want none of that. So she's having her moments. She sends me, there's a cousin of mine I had never met before. But for some reason in that season, this cousin of mine comes into my life. His name is Himunza. So Himunza comes into my life with his mom called, she's now called Auntie Rachel. So they come into my life. And so he's having a birthday party. So my mom says, go for that birthday party. So I go to the birthday party. It's over the weekend. I'd never met them, but I'm like, these are my cousins. I never interacted with them. So I'm getting to know them. So we go to a place called Kafue in Zambia. So Kafue is like, let's say, here in Naivasha. That's where I have a grandmother of mine who lives there. In fact, still lives there till date. Yeah, she actually still lives there till date. So we go there for my cousin's birthday. So while in this party, I just get this thing. I know something has changed. Something has changed.
Have the feeling that
I'm just like, my mood just went. And I remember at one point my aunt was on the phone and I think she was talking to my dad and she said, this boy knows something has changed. So I'm beginning to ask those questions. Because I have my side of the story. I don't know what happened in the hospital. Because the only memory I have is I walk into the hospital. I get to the hospital. I see people everywhere. I'm seeing an uncle of mine. He's standing next. My dad is somewhere. I'm seeing a whole bunch of people I know. And then my father walks to me. So I see him walking to me. So I'm walking to my father. I walk to him and he kneels down. He kneels down. So I'm like, okay, he's kneeling down. So I'm looking at him and he looks at me and he tells me, Mom is gone. I've never forgotten those words. It was like, that's a defining moment in my life. That's a point where it's like the director does, cut!
Wow.
We're shifting scenes. We're going to another scene. Very defining moment. Because I remember he said the words, Mom is gone. I heard, everything is going to be fine.
Wow.
So I know, it's strange.
You're 8.
Yeah.
You're losing your mom.
Yeah. He said, in fact, he knelt and he was in tears. And he was hugging me. He said, Mom is gone. But I heard, like I know, a voice literally telling me everything is going to be fine.
Wow.
I heard it the way I'm hearing you talking like this. I mean, I felt bad. I cried. But I just knew everything is going to be fine. Now I'm in Uganda. I'm seeking these questions. I'm trying to find out. I'm getting my identity because, yes, identity is father. But remember, you have your mom and your father in you. Both of them formulate who you are. So now I'm like,
what happened?
What happened to mom?
Yeah.
So my mom was called Petronella Penina Simango Ndlovu. And so we used to call her Mommy PPS. I know.
It means Presidential Press Service.
Let's call her Mommy PPS. So I'm trying to find out what Mommy PPS, who was she? How did she die? Why did she die like that? I'm asking those questions in Uganda.
Yeah.
My father writes to me an email, explains to me the story. I believe in that moment, at that point, I've gotten the answers I need.
Yes.
Now I'm in Kisumu again, years later, at the border of Uganda.
Two spiritual
places.
Yeah.
I'm now asking the questions again. Now the questions have shifted to why did she die? Because I went through a couple of things in my life, a lot of emotional trauma and all these things. And so I'm asking, why did she die?
Yeah.
Why? What's the meaning of this death? For me to come and die in Kisumu?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then in that point, the enemy is telling you people are successful in Nairobi, eh?
Have you forgotten about that voice that I told you?
Remember, at that point, I'm not even thinking about the voice. I'm in a clash of two kingdoms. The voice is telling me this. I have two voices speaking to me in that moment.
But you're also looking at your reality. And
yes.
You're like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly. Because remember, that voice is the same voice that told me you're going to be in this station.
Yeah.
In case.
Yeah.
Let me play more context for you to understand why this is becoming heavy for me. So I've moved into Kenya. So here I am. We're in the 254. I've come from Uganda. I'm here for university. One time, a KISS comes to Daystar. In fact, Radio Africa Group, the entire radio comes to Daystar. They're looking for presenters. I've put my hat in the ring, man. My hat in the everything. I'm like, we're going to do this.
You have the voice.
I got it.
Yeah.
Let's do the voice thing. I do a voice check. In fact, I remember in that room was a man called James Njoroge, who's the programs controller at that time for XFM. So in this room, guys, we've done all these VOs. Man, you are praying to God. You told me this is where I'm going to be.
This is it.
Here is it. Here it is.
Later.
My friend, they never got a response. Never. I've seen people who I'm with in class. One lady called Tandiwe Yego. Tandiwe Yego did KISS and then she did KTN as well at one point. Tandiwe Yego has gotten in. She's inside. There's another guy called Dave Skills. Skills is from Athi River.
Yeah.
He's gotten into this thing.
Yeah.
This thing is not giving me anything. But then I'm like, cool.
Is this Black Skills?
Yes.
Wow.
Because now he's in the States.
Yeah.
Yes. So Skills was in Daystar University.
He was a good hip hop head.
Yeah. So now he's now gotten into classic. So he's now doing classic. I'm like, God, this thing is right here. Why aren't I getting in? You told me this is what I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Then the whole education. So I do that whole stint. It didn't work out. Then a month or two later, a girl called Loy Awat. Loy Awat used to write XYZ. Remember XYZ?
Yes.
The puppets?
Man. Yeah.
So Loy used to write in XYZ. She was one of the writers. So one random Thursday, I'm seated next to somebody you might know called Masikalo. So seated me, Masikalo, and another friend.
That's Betty's sister.
Yes, Betty's sister. And another chick was seated on then Loy sends me a message. One of them is looking for interns. If you're interested, go for an interview right now in the afternoon. I'm in brown khaki pants, some checked red shirt, some shoes. I'm like, what? But then I'm like, see, if KISS doesn't want, kaya huko. Let me go to this other place. So we go for this interview. Me, Mercy Kyalo, a chick called Medrin Hilda. She worked at Hope FM, at Family Radio at one point. So we go for these things. I don't even have my CV. However, 3 weeks before that, I have a big brother of mine called Ronald Arao. Man, that guy is like my big bro. Ronald Arao, 3 weeks before that, calls me and tells me, we need to make a CV. So he tells me, now let me show you how we make a CV. This is a guy who's working in PZ Cool He's just got a job in Samsung. He's
he said,
top. You remember that TV for 1.2 million?
Yeah.
He's the guy who was the guy behind that TV. So he tells me, come, we make your CV. So I'm like, cool, bruh. So we make this CV. A CV with my photo, bro.
Bro, you're ahead of your pack.
So we make this CV. I don't have it in hard copy. It's on email. So I go, so on FM was at Barclays Plaza. There's a cafe of some sort at the corner opposite Anniversary Towers over there, right at the corner. So I rush there, print this thing, come in, I do this interview. These guys asking me, so yeah, we're looking for interns, but what do you want to do if you come here? I'm like, guys, me want to be on radio. No, Nini is on radio at that time. Like, me want to be on radio.
Is DNG at the radio station at that time?
DNG hasn't yet come back.
Okay.
He hasn't yet. In fact, DNG came back 4 months after that. So I'm like, guys, I want to be on radio.
Yeah.
So they told me, no, we don't have radio right now, but we're looking for news interns. I'm like, as long as I'm in the building, you guys will put me there. All I need is to get into this. I just knew like I knew. Once I walk in here, as long as I'm in this building, that microphone, I'm getting on it.
Yeah.
One word, I don't know how, but I know I'll get on it. So that's how I get on. So remember, that's how I've gotten on to radio. So, but remember, the promise in my heart at that point is it's supposed to be KISS.
Yeah.
That's what I'm supposed to be going to. But anyway, 1FM is the
way
radio.
To KISS. Yeah.
So I get into 1FM. I'm a news intern. I went for these news briefs and I did that for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, there was an administrator called Susan Gekone. Susan is like, you guy, you're not supposed to be doing this thing. Come help me create stuff. So I'm writing scripts for ads.
Yeah.
I'm helping create pitches for clients. I'm helping the presenters write their reports. Then there's a guy, I don't know if you know a gentleman called John Wilkins.
From KISS.
Yes, John Wilkins used to be in KISS. Now, John Wilkins is in 1FM at that point. He's the programs controller.
Yeah.
That's the guy who trained Maina, Shafi, Kaleche, Caroline. So he's in the room. So one day he's looking for radio interns. And then I go, so I give Chito a shot. By that time, I'm already doing I find myself on air once in a while, I'll do something.
Yeah.
And then JB and Tina Kagia were on the drive show at 1FM. So they used to call me the intern. So I used to go on radio as the intern. And then that time, everyone was loving Zambian music.
Yeah.
That's the time, what was this group called? I'm forgetting. Zone Farm was big. Generosi was doing music here. Pompey was beginning to blow up on this side. Mark 44. So they're playing them.
Yeah.
So I'm the guy who comes to interpret what these guys are saying. Then John Wilkins tells me, okay, now start doing come and I'll train you as a radio intern. So he starts training me. How I got on radio was somebody didn't show up for work. Then the guy was like, radio intern. So go to the thing.
Yeah.
Go Kondani. I did a show with JB Masanduku and then they were like, what?
Wow.
This kid has something.
Yeah.
That's how I started radio.
That's awesome, man.
But now context, I'm in Kisumu
City.
I'm in Kisumu City. Where is my journey? I'm supposed to go to KISS.
Wow.
I've left 1FM, I've gone to Nation. I've left Nation. Now I'm further away from the only thing close to KISS is Kisumu. That's the only closest I am to KISS. But in terms of geographically speaking, You're far away.
Yeah.
So I believe I'm supposed to be in this KISS. I'm having these questions about my mother, the same questions I asked when I was in Uganda, coming back again while I'm in Kisumu, and I'm asking questions about myself. What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And remember, Kisumu is heavily spiritual. So there's a whole lot of things happening. I'm trying to figure out which kingdom. I know the kingdom I'm supposed to be in, but there's a pool.
Do you feel, are you being offered and you're being asked to choose?
I believe at that point I'm being asked to choose.
One.
I believe I'm being asked to choose, but I don't realize I'm being asked to choose. In fact, my choice came later on. So I'm in this Kisumu and now I'm trying to commit suicide. I started exercising. There's a guy called Kevin Matar currently. He's on Vibe. He's on Vibes Radio. He does the breakfast show there. So I was with him in Kisumu doing a show together.
Yeah.
And so he gets me into exercising. I didn't even realize I need to start exercising because now it's helping me clear stuff off. But I'm also getting spiritually in as well.
Yeah.
Then these questions are coming in deep. There are nights I'm awake at night. I'll be awake till 4 a.m. I sleep for like 2 hours. We go to the gym. I come back. I'm not sleeping. I'm playing all these gospel songs in the background because I need this atmosphere to be right. I've already attempted suicide twice at this point. I took pills at one point. At that point, I tried to throw myself in front of the road and something pushed me back. Sometimes I say stories, it feels like it's voodoo. So I was literally taking myself onto a road. I'm like, a truck is going to hit me.
Yeah.
And literally yanked back. And so I stand and I'm like, clearly, that's not going to work. I was just like, okay, sawa. Clearly, I can't kill myself. Wagwan.
Yeah.
What's...
Someone is
someone is invested in me not dying.
There's a reason you need to be alive.
Someone is making sure I am not, they're over. In fact, I'm like, you're working overtime to make sure I don't die.
Yeah.
Then fast forward a bit, now I'm in Kisumu. I'm having these questions. And then I'm coming on. And then, strangely enough, in between 1FM, Kiss has called me while I'm in 1FM.
Mm-hmm.
They called me, a guy called Benomol, dude, I have a job for you. So you come to Kiss. So I go. We have a meeting. We agree salary. Your contract will be signed on Monday. So, cheers. Monday. Tuesday. Wednesday. Thursday. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month. Next minute, I'm in Nation.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? While I'm in Nation, a guy, I'm back again. So we do that Kiss thing. Sour. You come and sign your contract on Monday. Tuesday, same thing. A month passes, 2 months.
Man. You hope.
This guy now directs me to a guy called Ben Ogombe, who is the in charge and the owner of Urban Radio.
Yeah.
The guy calling me to Kiss now tells me, you guy, call that guy. That guy is good.
Yeah.
I find so you see, all these things are happening. I'm like, this thing keeps coming and keeps going, keeps coming and keeps going. Why isn't it happening? You know, why isn't this thing just coming into my life?
Yeah.
One day I get out of Kisumu. I was coming for holiday into Nairobi. As I get, you remember when Limuru, that's the point where there's the butter, where there's that butter signpost. The moment I got to that point, I looked at butter. Remember that voice when I was 8 years old, when my mom died, which told me everything is going to be fine, tells me you're not going back to Kisumu. I hear it as clear as day.
Wow.
You're not going back to Kisumu. I'm like...
But that's your gig.
Yeah. So what do you mean I'm not going back to Kisumu? You're going to Kiss. Bro, they've not even called me. In the middle of Kisumu also.
So interesting.
My mom's... So I have an aunt of mine in Zimbabwe, your mom's elder sister or younger sister, you call them older mother or younger brother. So younger mother. So you have my nini or my guru. So I had a my guru. So she dies while I'm in Kisumu. She was in a coma, bro. I prayed. I was like, this woman needs to come back. Because now in Shona, where my mother came from, when your mother dies, you are given to somebody else who becomes your mother. So she was my mother, and she was my mom's immediate elder sister. So this has happened while I'm in. So you see how everything is just getting darker and darker. Yeah. So I'm like, now I have 2 moms who've died. Like, this was my mother. Man, that thing devastated
And then
me.
you're older, so you're able to appreciate death even more.
Yes. And I remember I've prayed.
Yeah.
This God is telling me about Kiss, I'm praying and you're not answering. So how are you powerful or not?
Yeah, you've teased me with Kiss. I've gotten some calls. Nothing has happened.
Now my aunt, I've prayed for her not to die while she's in a coma. She still dies. So dude, what's going on? You know, thankfully enough, I have a friend of mine called Feni from Uganda, who I met in Uganda.
Yeah.
Happens to be coming from Kisumu. That's where her mom lives. So she tells me we'll go to church. So she takes me to Winners Chapel. Man, that church taught me faith.
Wow.
Like the kind of faith that you're just like, wait, like Yani, this mountain can move. So that's now the bedrock. That's how I'm now beginning to snap out of depression.
Wow.
So it's like one morning I woke up and it was like, yeah. You know when they talk about the prodigal son and he came to himself.
Yes.
I had come to myself moment. Then I'm coming into Nairobi, then I hear, you're not going to Kiss. I'm like, okay. So I believe my Winners Chapel was my choice moment.
Wow. That
That was my point where I decided at that point, whom do you serve?
Yeah.
I decided, I was like, I'm on this other side. I'm not on this side. But there's still a battle within me. You know, I mean, you make the decision, but you still feel a conflict.
Yeah.
So I get into Nairobi. My gig is in Kisumu. That's where my job is.
How much longer do you wait from when you come into Nairobi to get into Kiss?
40 days. Yeah.
Bro, you can't make up that stuff.
40 days. I prayed, bro. Man, I prayed. You know when a Ebuka song says, I will pray. It's like he's going on a loop.
Bro, 40 days.
40 days. 40 days after that, I get into Kiss, start working in
You know what I'm
Kiss
saying? You can't make up that stuff because I almost think there's something significant about 40.
Yeah, it is. It is heavily significant.
Yeah.
So 40 days after that, I get into Kiss. And I mean, I had a very conflict, because even one of the points, one day, so I'm praying one of these 40 days. God is like, yeah, we are going to Kiss. I am praying, bro. I'm fasting and praying.
And they've not called you?
No.
These 40 days?
No one has called me. Do you know the only sign I got? I was followed on Twitter by the Kiss account. The closest sign I got.
Hey, bro.
That's the closest sign I got. I was like, because I was not beginning, and then they followed me. I was like, this is all I need. This is all I need. And one day
that was a sign.
That was my sign. I held on to that thing like,
wow,
this is all I need. So that's another, and then that for me becomes a pivotal point, because in that period when I'm praying, one day I'm sitting in the bed, I'm just laying down. In fact, I read a book by Bishop David Oyedepo called Satan Get Lost. I read that book twice in one day. I read it, finished. I was like, no. All this is in the Bible. I went back, read the book. I literally spun like a madman.
Wow.
Just screaming, woo, 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 because my mind, the shackles on my feet had been broken. The scales on my eyes had been removed.
Yeah.
Because I had never in my life read of men living like the book of Acts.
Yes.
This guy's leprosy is being healed in this day and age. I was like, nah.
Bro.
I'm reading things that are, faith is no longer, it's not a distant thing, it's here.
It's here. It's not a reality for you. It's a reality.
So that night, I'm laying on my bed. I look down and then I see a small snake on the side of my bed. Yeah. I said, heavily spiritual stuff happens around me. So
a real snake.
So I'm seeing a snake over here. So I'm like, so I don't know why, but I'm like, step on it. So I'm like, I step on it. And then like smoke, I see it go. And then I remember all things have been placed under Christ's feet.
Yeah.
And we're seated in heavenly places with Christ. I've just read Satan Get Lost. I'm like, Satan, you're under my feet.
Yeah.
So I look and I see, I'm like, okay. So I look like this, a serpent this size. Sounds crazy when I'm saying it. In fact, when I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, bro, people gonna think I'm crazy. Comes out of the ground, a serpent this big, comes up like this. Looks at me in the face with red eyes.
You're not making this stuff up.
I'm not, bro, as in, that's what I'm saying. I know at that point where I'm like, my reputation going out the window. But hey, we're here. Might as well just go.
Yeah, let's
just go for it.
What?
I'm seeing it the way I'm seeing you. It's not something I'm creating. I'm seeing it like this. It's standing in front. It's literally in front of me. It's looking at me. It's not talking, but we are communicating mind. Saying stuff to me. And then I have this moment of, wait, am I seeing what I'm seeing?
This is like Eve talking to a serpent.
So I'm like, what am I seeing? I'm like, this is crazy. What am I seeing?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not normal. Then, in that exact moment, I get a, under my feet.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to, I'm like, you're under my feet. You're not supposed to sit here. Get back where you belong. And I'm saying it, I'm shouting in the house. Because I was staying with a lady who I consider my godmother. I'm shouting in the house, you're under my feet. You're not supposed to be here. And then it bows and goes back down. And I have a moment of, what was that?
Wow.
I'm like, what's that? What have I just seen? And I literally had a moment of, whoa. One of the guys walks in and is like, yo, bro, who are you shouting at? I'm like, you didn't see that?
Audible?
I'm like, wait, was that audible? I thought it was in my head. But then, yeah, that's just, so these are pivotal points for me. These are defining moments.
Yeah.
Because now at this point, I'm not arguing about whether heaven or hell is real. I know what I've seen.
Yeah.
It's no longer whether God or the devil are real. I'm like, if this, whatever came to me is real, that guy up there must be real.
Yeah.
And also it's defining, for me, it's defining who I am. It's beginning to literally get into me and say, this is who you are. And remember I made a decision in Kisumu.
Yeah.
These are part of the consequences of that decision.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, are you sure this is the direction you want to go? And I find myself thrust in deep, inside. And then I start KISS. Start working on the Maloko show.
Bro.
We decide there's this show I want to create for Kenyan talent. Let's build Kenya.
Yeah.
Cheers, let's do this. I do that. I'm working in KISS.
Your dream.
My dream, the place I was meant to be.
Wow.
And they cannot pay me. They can't pay me a salary.
What? Previously, I didn't see this one coming because previously they were giving you a contract.
Yes, I've gotten my contract.
You've negotiated with them.
I've gotten my salary. Everything is ready. Remember, I'm a Zambian Zimbabwean. I've come into Kenya. I've applied for my citizenship. I've not yet gotten my citizenship.
Yeah.
What do you need to get paid? You need your KRA pin.
Yes. You don't have one.
I don't have one because I have a waiting card.
Hey.
You can't get a KRA pin with a waiting card.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm waiting. Literally, waiting card. Literally, I'm waiting.
Wow.
So for 1 year, Kiss couldn't pay me because I'm on a waiting card. And I'm like, I'm in this place, but weirdly, that 1 year, man, dude. When they call Jehovah Jireh, why am I talking so much faith? I've not spoken about so much faith.
This is good.
I've not spoken about so much faith before, by the way. These are stories that are like between me and like 5 people.
Wow.
Strange enough, it's coming out here.
You saw God's provision, man.
This is weird. I'm not questioning why I'm having that conversation here. But anyway, hey, we might as well just dive in. We might as well go in deeper. So that year, dude, when they say Jehovah Jireh, man, I saw him first. Humundu.
Wow.
I mean, there are people who I consider my honorary parents. So when my dad moved with his family to Canada, my honorary parents are the people who were left to be.
Yeah.
Like, these are now your folks here. So I holler at my honorary mom. I'm like, yo, I've gotten this job in case. I just need 1 month. So they'll pay me at the end of the month. Then I bounce. Can I just stay with you guys while it's closer to the office, you know? Because one of the triggering points was my godmother was living in Kikuyu.
Yeah.
Now, remember, I've left a job. I don't have money.
Yeah.
Do you know I was sleeping in the office?
At Case?
Yeah. So I would lala in the office till 3 a.m.
Wow.
3 a.m., 4 a.m. Man, I've never shared this stuff. There's something that has been put in here. I've never, literally, I kid you not. There's probably somebody who's going to hear this thing and be like, bro, I've never shared this anywhere except like with my people.
Yeah.
So I was sleeping in the office in case.
Because you didn't have a place to go to.
I have to go to Kikuyu, but there are no jobs for Kikuyu at
Yeah.
night. From Westie, are you mad? You have to go to Tao.
Yes.
But even to Tao, you won't find them at that time. So I finished the show. I sleep. There used to be what is it called? It was a studio the prep studio for Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So I sit in that prep studio.
It's like Studio B.
Yes. So I sleep there because now that's why we prep for shows and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I sleep there. The goal is to sleep there till 4. Because at 4 a.m., people start walking into the office.
Yeah.
So my goal is to make sure...
And Caroline, any of the presenters for breakfast would rock in very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by then, Caroline is not even on breakfast show. That time, it's now Adele and Shafi.
Yeah.
So I'm like, my goal, make sure nobody finds me. In fact, no one even knows I was sleeping in Kiss.
Wow.
In fact, I think there's some people probably hear this right now. So I was sleeping on the table. I would sleep like this, on the table. And then at 4 a.m., walk to the stage for Westlands so that I can get
the job now.
The job into Tao to get a job from to Kikuyu.
Yeah.
So I did that a week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm like, this is not practical. That's when I end up calling my honorary mom.
Yeah.
So I holler at her and she says, hey, come. And me in my mind, it's a month. So I have my waiting card. How long does it take for an ID to come out? I've been told, Kijana, 3 weeks.
Bro.
3 weeks turned into 3 months. 3 months into 1 year.
You needed to learn man does not live
by bread alone.
Yeah.
And I lived with those people for 1 year.
They didn't kick you out? Nothing.
Never kicked me out. In fact, the first miracle is we never fought. In 1 year, we didn't fight. They never once, I would be the one who'd share with them, you guys, this and this and this and this. They never once kicked me out, never once asked me about, yo, dude, where's your, man, those people, even till date, my heart, all my Christmases, I'm with them. They're like my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
I love those guys to death. Their sons and I became brothers. They have 3 sons.
Wow.
We became brothers.
God hooked you up with that family.
Yeah, God did.
You did not have.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, for 1 year I live with these people who were strange. They were strangers, not strangers. Mm-hmm. For me, they were more of my father's friends.
Yeah.
But they've now become my family.
Yeah.
Like my legit family. I stayed 1 year, bro. In that 1 year, I mean, and then God also hooks me up with a friend of mine who now becomes my best friend. This dude, I don't even know how we started talking. Only God knows how we started talking, but somehow we started talking.
Yeah.
Can you imagine in 1 year, I never went lower than 50 bob? Never. I would get to 50 bob, someone would send me money. I'll literally get to, oh my God, I got 50 bob.
Wow.
Somehow, someone would send me cash. I mean, that year, I traveled on zero budget. Dude, I went around this country.
What? Living large? Someone would think you're balling.
Yay!
Wow. Yeah.
But it's Jehovah. You got to know him as El Shaddai.
Yeah.
You have to know him as your multi-breasted one. You have to know him as your Jehovah Jireh. Who is this provider of yours? Remember, I'm not a pastor. And I'm not called to be a pastor. I'm not a guy for the pulpit. I'm just a Christian. I'm just a guy who loves Jesus.
Yeah.
And now I've realized my only way out of this thing is Jesus.
You have no plan B. Here that comes through.
Either he comes through or I am finished.
Yeah.
But I can assure you, that year I got new clothes. That year, in fact, you remember I told you about my big brother?
Yeah.
So all these things have context for me. It's like a story. My story of mine is like, when a woman is needing, men need as well. But for me, my context of needing is grandma. So when grandma is needing, she has this pack of this wool here and this wool here with her knitting needle, and she's weaving these two things together.
Yeah.
That's literally how my life is. One thing connects to the other. Before you know it, it's a shawl. Before you know it, it's a boshori. What's that thing called?
Boshori.
It's a boshori. Before you know it, it's gloves. Before you know it, that's how my life has been. I call him the master kneader himself, kneading every moment, every human being together to create this wider thing. That's what my life has been. So I can't talk about one moment that when I talk about one moment, I go, oh my God, there's this other moment.
Everything is interconnected.
Everything is interconnected for me. Every single thing. This is not the first time I'm knowing God as Jehovah Jireh. When I'm in between 1FM and Kiss F and Kisumu, Urban Radio. In between there, I left 1FM abruptly. I don't have a job now. In that period, I'm trying to figure out what next. I start discovering, hey, you can pray at 3 a.m. I don't know who made me introduce me to 3 a.m. prayers. Oh, it was my ex. So
your ex hooked you up with your logo.
She didn't have the logo.
Not the logo, but the voice.
She put it on a brand. She put it on a key holder. That key holder changed how I looked at myself.
Yeah.
In fact, there's I'm like, man, God bless that ex.
And then 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning. Wow. So I don't know who did we discover. It's Elisha Goodman. It's a guy called Elisha Goodman. He's in Canada. He's based in Canada. So he has these prayers. Yes, it was Elisha Goodman. Her mom found it from somebody who gave it to her. So like, you guys don't have a job. Do these prayers. You get a job.
Yeah.
Like, what time do these prayers? Just do for 10 minutes. Between 3 a.m. and 3:10. Just for 10 minutes, you can go back and sleep.
3:10.
We're back to Kanyari.
Wow.
So I'm waking up, I've set my alarm. At 3 a.m. I wake up.
Yeah.
I do these 7, they were called seven prayers. 7 bullet prayers. I do them. 1 month doesn't pass. In fact, I think it was the second month. I did them like for a month like this. A guy calls me from Nation. I'm like, Allah! These prayers work, man. These things work. As I find myself in Nation.
Wow.
But I didn't have I'm still a student. I don't have money. I'm not. And so I remember one time, there's a time I needed food. I not needed food. One of my father's friends gave birth.
Yeah.
And I get this feeling, just go see her. So I have my last tunes in the pocket. God tells me, go buy some diapers for her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. So I buy these diapers. I walk to her house. I was living at, NHC on Othaya Road.
Yeah.
So I used to live at NHC. They used to live down the road. Holy Spirit, remind me. Forgetting, there's some Indian apartment somewhere in next to Capte Gardens. So I get over there. I go to see her. And she got a son. So I go there, I buy her these Pampers. We're chatting up Storos. She's encouraging me. That time I remember Nation had just called me. So I'm telling her, I'm going to Nation. She's like, cool. So we finish and then she goes, just wait for me. I'll take you home. So I'm like, cool. So we're chilling.
Yeah.
Then this lady walks into her pantry, comes out with like 5 bags of shopping.
Can't make up this stuff.
Comes out with 5 bags of, 5 full bags of shopping. Full. I remember they were Nakumat. Full. So then she tells me I'll drop it. She's even given me canned beans, beef, whatever. I had bacon. I had I don't know what. So I get to the house. And she drops me to the Digos. I remember they had just bought a Benzo C200. So I'm saying this C200, I'm just like, whoa. She drops me at the house.
Yeah.
I get inside the Digos. I'm carrying
shopping.
5 bags of shopping full. This is a kid who didn't have food.
Man.
As in, even when I got into Kisumu, I just graduated. I don't have money, man. You just graduated from uni. I get into Kisumu. I remember I saw the Urban Ranger was giving us accommodation. Anyway, something happened over there. I couldn't give us accommodation anymore.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the night, in the morning, I'm just being told, yeah, you can't come back here. Yeah, you can't come back to this. Because they have my clothes, everything. Hey, what do I do? I remember another friend of my father's. I remember she told me, I've called everybody I think I know. I called even someone who I thought was like far more.
Mm-hmm.
A guy tells me, you just go on social media and rant about how you don't have a house. By the way, human beings are weird. I'm like, what, bro? I'm coming to you you have a Digos. I can sleep on your couch just one night.
Yeah.
As I try to figure out what to do the following day, they tell me, you just go on social media, bro, rant. Go on social media, let the blogs write this story. They'll get you a how. I've just remembered that thing for the Council of the Unwise. The Council of the Ungodly.
This is it.
This is the Council
Psalm chapter 1.
This is the Council of the Ungodly.
Yeah.
Just take some water, please. Man, Mose, I don't know which God you pray to. I never share these stories.
I told you, man, I normally don't have an agenda on this podcast.
So, so I don't have a place to stay. So I call her. So I'm like, yo, she's called Dama. Like, yo, Dama. She told me, I have a bro. I really just need a place for today. By tomorrow, I'm sure I'll figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Dama not only calls her brother, pays for me for a hotel for 3 days.
Bro.
She's like, you figure, get your balance.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I'm a Zambian Zimbabwean.
Mm-hmm.
I went to high school in Uganda.
Yeah.
I'm in Kenya. I was in Nairobi. Now I'm in Kisumu.
You have no ID.
I have no idea.
Bro.
So all these things, and then so she pays for me 3 days. So I stay in this hotel. And then on the 4th day, her brother says, no, let him come stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I stay with her, with her brother.
Yeah.
He's a stranger. I never knew her brother. A stranger opened his house to me. I slept on his couch. Mm-hmm. And he told me, you first relaxing, settle in.
Yeah.
Settle in, because a lot has happened.
Mm-hmm.
You came in, you think you're going to stay here. You're no longer staying here. You've been told, get out. Now you've gotten out. Say, stay here. Don't be in a rush. Just stay here, Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
I stayed with him for 2 months. After 2 months, I stayed with him for a month.
Mm-hmm.
A month and a half or something like that. His sister pays for my rent for 2 months. He finds me a house. She paid my rent.
What?
For 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
She paid the deposit plus 2 months rent. Remember, she knows my salary is coming in.
Yeah.
But she's like, That's how I got a house in Kisumu.
Bro.
Yeah.
You have another crazy testimony, man. Crazy testimony. I guess they say you never know people.
Yeah, I guess so.
And, I have a question.
Yeah.
So this has been Mental Health Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in this dark space.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get out of it? Because you tried to commit suicide twice.
Mm-hmm.
We have many men who are going through something like this. I know as Jamas, we don't talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not just Jamas. It's also women as well. We can say women normally talk a lot, but this thing affects all of us.
Yeah.
How did you come out of that?
Man. Hey. I'm usually very careful around mental health awareness because people take things out of context sometimes.
Yeah.
Mine was just God, bro. I literally just used to read random scripture sometimes. Sometimes I couldn't even have the strength to read scripture. Just listen to music. But there's just one day I came to myself. It's like I woke up and I was like, what am I doing?
Wow.
Who are you? In fact, whose son are you?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? Why are you allowing yourself? Why are you allowing? Because I felt for me, it was allowing myself to be in a certain space.
Yeah.
I opened up to a few people. I remember, so I broke up with this other girlfriend. I started dating another ex. And I told her I was suicidal. She laughed at me.
Wow.
I literally was trying to kill myself and I'm telling her, she laughed at me. She said, what do you mean you're trying to kill yourself?
She can't see how.
Yeah. She literally laughed at me. I'll never forget that thing. It's stuck in my mind. In fact, I'm surprised I didn't even kill myself after that. Usually you find yourself, this is the sign you needed to just take yourself out. I didn't. But I am not gonna lie. I'm even trying to think, did I have community around me? I didn't really have community around me. The few people I told at that point, because now I have 2 points. Even the point when I wasn't getting paid, there's a point I almost slipped into a dark space. Then I have 2 friends of mine who literally yanked me out. Like, nah, bruh, no.
You're not going down there.
We're not going down there. We're not going down there. In fact, one of my pals it was like, bro, look around you. You're not getting paid. You're living in Loresho and you're not getting paid. You have food.
Yeah.
The company drops you home, Bana, after Jobo.
Bro.
Look around you.
Yeah.
Brought that perspective to me. And a pal of mine sat with me, introduced me to the song by Planet Shakers. There's a song by Planet Shakers. Covered by Planet Shakers. So I'm seated in their backyard. She's talking to me. And she was playing Covered. I can't remember what she was saying. Till this day, I really don't know what she was saying. She knew I was in a dark space.
Yeah.
I can remember her saying stuff to the tune of, God loves you. Why would you want to take yourself out? How do you think you should leave the people behind you? That's all I remember. But I remember as she was talking, Covered by Planet Shakers was playing.
Yeah.
And I soaked in that thing. I kept just hearing it. I think I played that song on loop for like even 2 weeks. I just kept saying, now, when I feel I'm a bit more mature in some things, I'm like, that was basically saying I'm covered by God.
In hindsight now.
In hindsight, now I'm like, oh my God, in fact, it's today. when I'm talking to you, when I'm like, oh wait, that was literally God saying, I've covered you.
Yeah.
Literally, I've covered you.
Yeah.
At that point, I didn't see it.
I mean, it's so clear as I'm listening to you, and I've tried not to interject you because I felt it's like as you were sharing today, it's like you're reliving moments.
Yeah.
And it's like you're processing things.
Yeah, I am. I'm processing them with you right here.
As you're talking to me.
I'm processing because I went to therapy at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mental awareness month. So there's a point I had to deal with the emotional trauma.
Yeah. Like dealing with the loss of your mom.
Yes.
As an adult.
Yes. Because I now had to then come to that point. I had to figure out what does this mean for who I am moving forward. And I remember, I was very specific. I was looking for a Christian therapist.
Yeah.
I said I wanted a Christian therapist. I found out through a friend of mine who wasn't Christian at the time.
The one who referring you.
referred me to a Christian therapist. And I had to really go down. Because there's a point I thought I was a narcissist. When you have been abused emotionally so much, you begin to take on the image of your abuser.
Yeah.
You see the way we take on the image of Christ when he comes into us. When an abuser comes to you, when you allow the enemy to come into you, you begin to take on that image. Even though your true identity is still within you, you now begin to have a battle between your true identity and who this thing is, or this person is. Let's call it a thing. What thing this is. And so, as you're having that scuffle, the true you is coming out, but then you begin to think you are this person that emotionally abused you.
Yeah.
And so, for me, that moment, I came into so I used to think, because I was constantly, the information I received growing up from this particular person was, you're bad, you are irresponsible, never told me I'll not amount to anything. Weirdly enough, never said that, but insinuated it. Insinuated even the type of people I would date. It was just nasty programming. It was just like trying to program this mind to be, without saying the words, you will not amount to anything. But in the public space, because I'm in a church setup, in a public space, this person is like, no, I love this guy. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You cannot, never hit me physically once. But the words that came out from that mouth,
Words,
bro, it was just...
Words cut deep.
And then pretend, no, I love you. That's why I'm telling you these things. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Love covers all multitude of sin. You cannot tell 5 people he's bad, then come and tell me you're good.
It's how James says, out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have, a spring of fresh water and dirty water coming out at the same time?
You
can't.
Man, they slandered me. Still do till date, but I don't care. I'm a child of God. It doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect me now.
Yeah.
But they kept on all this information they were giving people to the point I didn't know who I was. I literally started questioning who I was. And so at one point I remember I had to, because now I came again, pivotal point. You come to a point in your life now you're an adult. I'm about to hit 30. So I'm like, I need to find out. I need to dig deep on who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go to therapy. So I found myself with a Christian therapist and we began to unpack and really unpack. And she was the first person, human being, adult, older than me of a certain age, who I remember telling me, you're not a bad person. Wow. In fact, she used the word, you're a good enough person.
Wow.
And I remember hearing that and going, huh? It's like, that's not the programming I've received.
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm a good person?
It's almost like the enemy was trying to destroy you with words and make you lose your identity and start looking at yourself from a negative perspective. Yeah. But then God sends this person who comes and it's like he affirms you.
Exactly.
And he tells you, actually, this is who I see you to be.
And remember, I lost my mom.
You're good enough.
It's a mother figure, therapist, not a mother figure, but it's a therapist. In that moment, she's an older woman who reaffirms that thing to me. It's like she broke that. It's literally like, you've seen a door?
Yeah.
It just went, pah!
Bro, you and I need to have a part 2. I had no idea how these conversations were going to...
You want us to do a part 2? Let's do a part 2, bro. Let's do a part 2. Even I didn't know. In fact, I was coming here and I was like, what am I going to do there? And I heard, in that hour, open your mouth, I will feel it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think I needed to hear this. And there's someone who needed to hear this.
Yeah.
And... no, let me not go there.
Go there, bro.
No,
you said it's a safe space.
It's a safe space. It's a safe space. But it reminded me of a couple, even of my life. And so like when I was telling you earlier about, man does not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God. That can only come, it's like you need to go through a certain period of life or a certain season of life to get to that point where you're like, God, I have no plan B. It's the same words that Jesus Christ used when he was being tempted by the devil. And the devil was telling him, after he had fasted for 40 days.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
And Satan tells him, if you're the son of God, turn these stones into bread.
Yeah.
And then Christ says, man shall not live on bread alone, but every word that proceeds from the mouth of God.
And remember, Christ is the bread of life.
Bro.
He's the bread.
We need to get to that point.
Yeah. Where he's your bread.
And you can only get to that point when you go through this season.
Yeah.
When you understand, actually, it's not the manna that's going to sustain me through this. He is the bread of life.
He's the bread of life. He's the manna. Remember,
he's the manna.
It's the type and shadow.
Yes.
It was a type and shadow. He's
it.
the manna.
You need to get to that place where you soak into God's word.
Yeah.
Where you're like, it doesn't matter what life throws my way. So long as I have him on my corner, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And you can only get there through going through certain season. I'm seeing Kate is like, man, guys, you need to wind up. And she's dude.
Like, wrap it up.
I honestly want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, man.
No, thank you. I've never shared. In fact, the only footage of my story is lost.
You have this one now.
Yeah, the only footage of my story. Some random guy, it's the guy lost it or whatever it was. In fact, when I was going through this, I was like, this is weird.
Okwenda, please don't lose this. This has been so, it's been so enriching in so many ways. And I pray that the guys who are watching this, who are going to listen to this and that their journey is going to be built up and be like, if Chito has gone through this and he's still standing, the man with the golden voice.
God's son, bro.
Yeah,
I am God's son.
That I can do this. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being part of the podcast today.
Thank you for this random moment of conversation. But I mean, it's a good thing, bro. You're doing a good thing. You're doing
God
a
is
good
good.
thing.
God is onto
You've gotten
something.
your, you know, when the eagle, okay, where am I going here? Sorry. Just 5 more minutes, yes? 5 minutes, yes?
Uh-huh.
When they talk about the eagle and its beak has been cut,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets to a certain age of 40,
Yeah.
and now it has to now rebirth itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it hits off its beak and has to grow a new
Yeah.
beak. It removes its claws and has to grow a new claw. I think this is your new beak.
Wow.
I really think this is your new beak. This is your new claw. This is your new wine. This is your water to wine moment.
Wow.
Where you've been with the living water,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's turning water into wine.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'll only take my wine in the new kingdom. I'll only take this fruit new
Mm-hmm.
in the new kingdom with my father, in the kingdom with my father,
Mm-hmm.
rather than my father's
Yeah,
kingdom.
yeah.
This is your wine.
Wow. I don't even
Think of this is your wine, bro. This is your water to wine moment. This is the moment. I mean, you've done so much for God's work, and then now you've done you are here, you are facing one direction, and then it's like, nah, bruh, turn around. And it's making you face a different direction.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is, I really feel strongly, don't do it. The world has ways it does stuff.
Yeah.
You're not of the world. Don't do it the way the world does it.
Mm.
The world has things they expect you to do.
Yeah.
Don't do it the way the world does it. There's the way he wants you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way you'll know how to do it is if you are going to him.
Yeah.
So go to him.
Yeah.
The world, I mean, there's a lot of things. The world will tell you, bro, sichukue tu date tuende ufanye hizi vitu na nini.
Mm-hmm.
Man shall not live on bread alone, but
Yeah.
on the word that comes out of God's mouth.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do
Okay.
it. Don't do it.
I'm going to listen to a song as you're talking.
Yeah.
A Hill song. It's called New Wine.
Yes, I've been listening to it the entire week. That's
Bro,
how I'm
that's-
like, maybe I've been listening to it for you.
Now you're talking, I'm like, I'm going to put that song.
Yeah. And read
Yeah.
about go back and read about the new wine.
Yeah.
In that wine moment, the
Mhm.
new wineskin. Because you can't do this the way you did it before. You gotta do it the way he wants you to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you put that new wine into that old wineskin, it's gonna burst. It can't
burst.
work. It will just and we'll be here
Yeah.
like Mos banner.
Wasted time, wasted effort. Yeah.
Do it God's
Energy.
like whatever, and God's way is not how we did it before. Remember, the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea the first time. He had to lift up your rod, stretch out your hand, and the seas parted.
Mhm.
The second time, the priests had to carry the ark on their shoulders, step into the water. The Jordan River parted. The people had to walk. The priests couldn't sit.
Mhm.
They had to stand.
Until
I believe it was 3 days
yeah.
that the children of Israel crossed. Then they crossed. There's one way you did it before. There's another way you have to do it now.
Wow.
Just think of it like that. But man, you're doing a fantastic thing. God bless, bro.
You've been sent, man. You've been sent.
God bless.
Woo.
I'm excited for you and what
Thank you,
God is
man.
doing for you in your rebirth season.
Thank
But
you.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's not the same way it was, bro. Get that new wineskin.
We've just crossed past. This is episode 40. Yeah. God is good.
Yes, he is.
Man, thank you so much for being part
Anytime, my
of the podcast
brother.
today, bro. I had not seen this one coming, man.
Neither did I who came here. Neither did I who came here. But
Oh, man.
it's all for the kingdom of
All
God.
for the kingdom,
I've
man.
never shared this story, so
For
I'm
God
sure
and
it's
King.
for the kingdom. Even me,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what are you trying to? I'm like, God.
This is all his, man.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for joining us for the podcast today. You guys have been wonderful. Go ahead and share, like, subscribe. Deuteronomy chapter 8. Please read that. I believe that scripture is for someone. Deuteronomy chapter 8. You need it. You need it. Peace. Thanks, Chito.
Welcome, my guy. Glory to God.